There's a new report that Compulsion Games and Microsoft are seemingly protecting the company's community manager despite her claiming that she hates gamers back in February and has previously said that white male gamers were a mistake. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. This is over at thatparkplace.com. And if you are unfamiliar, with the community manager for Compulsion Games, Katie Robinson. This is what she posted back on February 14th. Honestly, I hate gamers. Her post about hating gamers came a day after the official Compulsion Games X account announced its support for Crystal Dynamics' trigger warning at the beginning of Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered. That trigger warning read this: the games in this collection contain offensive depictions of people and cultures rooted in racial and ethnic prejudices. These stereotypes are deeply harmful, inexcusable, and do not align with our values at Crystal Dynamics. Rather than removing this content, we have chosen to present it here in its original form, unaltered, in the hopes that we may acknowledge its harmful impact and learn from it. Obviously, accusing the original developers' core of being all those things that they're accusing them of, like saying that there are offensive depictions, and they put those in there. Pretty awful trigger warning there. And Compulsion Games responded to the trigger warning, writing this on X on February 13th, the day before Katie Robinson posted on her personal account that she hates gamers. But this is what Compulsion Games wrote on X. Many video games are a product of the times they were created in. As we look to recreate and remaster these stories for modern audiences, it's important to consider the implications of these harmful portrayals and do our part to rewrite new history, not repeat it. We applaud our peers at Crystal Dynamics for their reflections and corrections. So not only did she claim she hated gamers on February 14th, and then obviously is seemingly, I don't know if it's her or not, but one would assume that it's her if she's the community manager, talking about rewriting new history. She also gave an interview back in 2022 with Refinery 29, where she admitted to posting to social media, quote, white male gamers were a mistake. This is what she told the outlet. You're not going to tickle some people's fancy being outspoken or tweeting things like I do when I say white male gamers were a mistake. I like to think that my kind of presence acts as a way to kind of show people like, hey, you can be outspoken, you can have a backbone and stand for something and still be successful. So that is what she told Refinery 29 back in 2022. She also said this later in the interview. She was discussing Twitch demographics. She detailed the streaming platform's demographics are, quote, really just a greater reflection of the society at large outside of gaming. I mean, we see who sits at the top of society in general. It's that and also subconscious bias and subconscious racism. When most people think about gaming, they have one image in mind, and it's probably some white guy. She also went on to inform the outlet, if somebody white says, I have this apprehension going to a space where there's black people, that ends up being rooted in something more sinister. And that's when you have to take a look at yourself and ask yourself, why do you feel that way? She also shared that one of her goals for the homepages of both YouTube and Twitch is to have, quote, black folks who are queer, trans, brown, disabled, and not be outnumbered by cisgender white people, specifically white men, and not just during a specific Black History Month or Women's History Month at any time of the year. So obviously, her worldview is clearly shaped by skin color and identity politics. So that is all of what she said in the past, and it's in the recent past, right? We're just going back to 2022 and just I guess a little over a month ago, back February 14th. But now we have a new report from World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kerm that Robinson is being protected. He posted a lengthy update on what is going on with Compulsion Games and South of Midnight, which is the upcoming game that they are working on. And this is what he said. More ex-developers come forth about Sweet Baby Inc. project South of Midnight by Compulsion Games. The community manager is still protected after saying she hates gamers and has a problem with Asian and white people. So I know there is a screen cap of a post going around where she is saying Asian and white people. I don't know what the context of that is, and that is why that's not included in this video, and I haven't really shared it in any articles because I just don't know exactly what she is referring to there. By itself, it just kind of it's innocuous. You don't really know exactly what she's actually referring to there. It's clearly something that was probably a follow up post or something to that effect. But I just don't know what that context is, given the fact that she has locked her account on X and put it into protected mode, and you can't really search what exactly she has said. And who knows if that post is even still up now. But nevertheless, Kern goes on and reiterated details from his previous report, saying that the main character was race swapped in order to better reflect a tale set in the Deep South after Microsoft and Sweet Baby Inc. involvement. The team that created their past celebrated title We Happy Few is mostly gone, leaving after being disillusioned about changes after the Xbox, Microsoft, and Sweet Baby Inc. involvement, studio politics, and more. Less than 10% of the original We Happy Few team remains. He went on and said, promotion of non-qualified staff to lead and management positions resulted in a mess of a project. No idea how to make a game. That's a quote from one of his sources. He continued saying the dev team is almost entirely white and based in Montreal, Canada, and many devs felt uncomfortable creating a game in the Deep South with so little experience in the area. Based on the screenshots that we're seeing, it doesn't look like it's actually being set in the Deep South. It looks more like kind of like a New Orleans style game, potentially in like Louisiana, which has a very different culture and background compared to other areas in the Deep South. Nevertheless, he goes on and says, Sweet Baby Inc. and a person of color writer were brought on board to help with a more authentic perspective. And there's the Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair there. Kern then shared that at least one of his sources relate to him that Robinson is one of many incompetent hires working at Compulsion Games. He wrote this. The gamer-hating community manager, Katie Robinson, is cited on one of the many incompetent staff promoted or hired into senior positions who does no actual work. A quick glance at the company page she manages, Compulsion Games. That's their X account. And he shared screenshots of her just kind of reposting other video games and stuff like that, and DEI initiatives, reveal virtually no info about the game and consist of endless retweets of DEI related matters and promotions about other games and companies. He then concluded the post with the information he received from his sources writing this. Devs painted a picture of a passion project by the creative director who grew up in the South, gone awry after Microsoft money. Project in poor state of development, good devs with good intentions being hamstrung by poor hires and promotions not based on merit, and very poor community management. And then he quoted what one of his sources told him: there are many good people there. Kern then shared his thoughts after relaying that information. He says, my personal hope is that Compulsion Games turns this around, creates the beautiful fantasy story they intended. They should clean up staff and get a new community manager who actually loves their game and loves gamers. And they should fire Sweet Baby Inc. and let gamers know they did. I 100% agree with that. I do not know how you keep someone as a community manager for a video game that has explicitly said they hate gamers, and that they think that white male gamers were a mistake. That's absolutely unacceptable. Never should have been hired. Clearly unqualified to be promoting a video game if that is how someone feels. There's no way they should have been hired, and I agree they should be fired for that. And they should also fire Sweet Baby Inc. as well and let gamers know they did that. And not only should they let them know they did that, they should, I think they should be very transparent and show what Sweet Baby Inc. did and what their recommendations were and how influential they were and how they are excising Sweet Baby Inc. from the game. Kern goes on and says there are many, many devs in the industry who are held hostage, silenced by a DEI culture of fear that prevents them from doing their job, or from DEI and ESG culture lowering quality and abandoning merit, causing many talented devs stuck without promotions or forced to leave and causing projects to fail. This has to change to fix gaming. It's not just gaming. I mean, we're seeing this across the board. I mean, we're seeing it in movies. We're seeing it in television. Obviously, it's stuff happening outside of the entertainment industries as well. And it does indeed need to change. This woke DEI culture has got to go. It's time for us to stop, for people to stop living in fear. Do not let the do not be controlled by that fear. What is the quote from Dune? Fear is the mind killer. Don't let your mind be killed by this fear. Stand up to it, reject it, and embrace the truth. But it does indeed look like, though, right now, it looks like Katie Robinson is being protected. It's unclear who is protecting her, but it does not look like we're going to see changes coming from Compulsion Games anytime soon. And that is to their own detriment. This game has already been added to the Sweet Baby Inc. detected Steam list, which is, in my opinion, is a boycott list. So I think this game is already dead on arrival, and the more we're learning about it, the more feet it gets buried into the ground. But let me know what you guys make of this latest report from Mark Herm that the Compulsion Games community manager who hates gamers, who has said white male gamers were a mistake, is being protected clearly by someone at Compulsion Games, Xbox Game Studios, or Microsoft Gaming. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.